So I was recently asked by someone on another video who left a comment, and they wanted an update as to my, I guess, feelings on the Bass Tracker Classic XL, something to that effect. And I got to tell you, days like this where it's 65 degrees and the water is just perfect. It's back to school, so nobody's out here. The tuna boats are gone. Nobody's even out here fishing. There's no one out here right now. I'm out in Anchor Bay. Oh, there's a plane coming by. Now, there were some seagulls bothering my drone, but outside of that, it's like having your own private lake. It's insane. But I digress, because I guess that ties into my feelings on having the Bass Tracker Classic XL. If you're on the fence about getting a boat and you've been putting it off, whatever, don't do it any longer. Get it now. Prices are only going up. I don't know if you've seen, but in just the past 2 years, the amount that exponentially that it's increased is crazy to me. Now, that's what people said when I bought this. They said, oh, look at, back in 2010, I could get that for $8,000. Well, yeah, 2010 or 2020 even, it was a lot cheaper to purchase this boat. And now it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, talking numbers, I paid substantially less for this boat in February than the 2026s that are coming out now at around $18,900. That's insane. Now, that's just the sticker price inside the store to order a 2026. I don't know if they have them to show them or not, but 2026 at $18,900, plus you got to add the tax. In Michigan, that 6% sales tax. When you add on all that, I don't know how they're going to keep that ad running that says, for $5 a day, you can have. You can't do that for $5 a day. You couldn't do last year's in 2025. Well, it's 2025 now, but you know what I mean. They released it last year with running that same ad for $5 a day. Okay, yeah, if you put down 80%, I don't know, but there's no way you can do that boat $5 a day unless you have a substantial down payment down. Or like a lot of guys were saying before in my previous video, oh, pay cash for it. Why would you ever take out a loan on a boat? Because I don't have $20,000 sitting around. I'm sorry. I was a blue-collar worker. I was a cop. I do not, and I'm retired now, so I'm on a fixed income. I don't have $20,000 I can just throw at a boat. If I did that, I probably wouldn't be married, which I just celebrated my 29th wedding anniversary, but been together 31 years. That would end instantly. Then she would get half the pension, hence no boat ever. So that's why I took out a loan, because I can afford that. It's not difficult to make a payment of less than nothing, but it's well worth it. So to get back to the original discussion, should you get a Bass Tracker Classic XL, or do I have any regrets for getting this? Absolutely not. I do have a regret that I didn't do it sooner. I do wish back when I got originally I got a kayak. I didn't care for that at all. Only because of my age, my weight stability, that sort of thing. I just did not like it. It wasn't for me. A lot of guys like it. That's fine. But again, I didn't have a good kayak. I had the Ascend from Bass Pro Boat, which is back when it was Cabela's. You work there, you get a 40% discount. It was cheap. I got into it. I didn't like it. Then I went to the Ultra Skiff. Sorry, I had this thing on loop still, so I had to reset it. Then I bought the Ultra Skiff. Now, the Ultra Skiff was actually obtained free, and I have a video on that. I'll leave a link to it. It's a long story. Wow, something just jumped out of the water. Long story to it, but essentially I got it for free. Well, it cost me $35, but again, they were $1,300 at the time with the motor and all that stuff. They're like $2,000 now. Pond King bought out Ultra Skiff, so Ultra Skiff is no longer truly Ultra Skiff. It's by Pond King, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just they're not who they were. It was bought out. I don't know how the quality is. I don't think they've changed much. They haven't changed the process on it, but the customer service there was great. I loved my skiff. What I didn't care for in the skiff was the fact that it limited me to my trolling motor battery capacity. In other words, I couldn't take it to some of the locations I wanted to go to. It would not take me that far. And unlike a kayak, I couldn't pedal. I couldn't have a pedal drive system. I could not paddle it. So I couldn't get to where I wanted to go to expand my fishing experience. Now, I was blessed enough to have a lot of friends with boats, to go out there quite often. But even that is different from exploring and doing some things maybe you would want to do by yourself. And that's not to say it wasn't a good experience with anybody that I've ever fished with. It's always been a great experience because it's always been about the fishing and being out there with friends. But sometimes you want to not ride on the back of a motorcycle. You want to have your own bike. And I guess that's what kind of drove me to the decision. That and twofold that Rich from Owl's Nest Outdoors lives far enough away that sometimes it's inconvenient for him to bring in his boat into town for the drive and everything else, when he could just drive in without having a trailer and bring it to and from, and he can hop in this boat or Brett from Fish the Mitt. Either way, he would have another option, and we'd have another option because we have another couple of other friends that we rotate through in the circle to get out on Lake St. Clair. Gives me options to go to inland lakes. But again, with the skiff, I couldn't get in the inland lakes and get into the back of the nook and crannies that I want to. But I got to tell you, living out here as long as I have, more than half my life now, and being on Lake St. Clair, it's very difficult to now go to inland lakes and want to fish there. It has so much diversity here. There's so many different areas to fish. You have Harson's Island and the flats and the shallows, and you have Anchor Bay, which is generally a big flat but a little bit deeper, like a big bowl. You have the canals. You have the mile roads. You have the shipping channel. There's so many different diverse areas. Depending on what you want to fish for, it's all there. It's all there. Grasses, lily pads, canals, creeks, everything's there. Here, everything's here on Lake St. Clair. So that's what makes it difficult for me to say, oh, I'm going to trailer it and drive a half hour, or I'm going to drive an hour, or I'm going to drive 2 hours. Now, I do want to go up north to some of the lakes up there. I think that would be a great time. I know I had a wonderful time in years past with my brother-in-law, Andy. But I'm spoiled. It's absolutely hard because I live 2 minutes from Brandenburg Park. I live just maybe 10 minutes from the Fairhaven launch. 20 from Metro Beach. So it's not difficult for me to just hitch it up and go. But getting back to the original thing of doing it now, make that decision now before things get more expensive. You're always going to say tomorrow. You're always going to say, you think you have enough time, but you don't. I've lost a lot of people in my life in the past few years to accidents, disease, old age. My Aunt Alice, God bless her, lived to be over 100. Her daughter just passed away recently, my cousin. So you're never going to have enough time. So make that decision, do it now, get out there and live life, enjoy it. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. And I got to reset this again because it's going to go on loop. So kind of in summary, no, I don't regret it other than not getting it sooner. Are there things that I would like to have that it doesn't have? Yes. Are there things that I don't like about it? Kind of. But the things that I like and don't like kind of mesh together. And I'm going to get into that in another video. But I just wanted to give just a quick overview of my impressions of the boat, which I couldn't be happier. That's the bottom line. I'm going to get into some of the pros and cons. I'll get into that. I'll get into some of the wear issues, which really isn't an issue, to be honest with you. But it's just things that as a new boat owner you experience that you may not think of, and that may help you, if you make that decision, which you should, make that transition and that lifestyle a little bit easier. It's not hard. It's simple. This whole thing about even launching by yourself is ridiculously easy. This boat makes it easy because of its lightweight. And again, it's a modified V. It's a welded aluminum frame, so you don't have to worry about a lot of the things you do with rivets and maintenance and things like that. I have not run into any issues like other people have with weld cracks and things like that. But again, I'm not beating it up. I don't have a higher power trolling motor, which is, I know a lot of the issues were when people did that. It put a lot of stress on the hull. I don't have that to deal with, so I'm retired. Like I said, I have been taking this thing out a lot. Not every day, but close to every day. The gas is another thing. This thing sips gas. So if you're worried about, well, it's going to be expensive, it's not expensive. Even to maintain it, I'm going to get into those issues too. It's not as expensive as you think it is. It's not even close. But yeah, I love it, and I think you should do it if you're on the fence. If you're deciding to get it, I know a lot of people have messaged me about that, and they're ecstatic. They're coming up on, picking up their boat, and they're going to get theirs. Congratulations and enjoy. But if you're in this area and you did like I did, you're kind of hesitant. Well, I need a deep V for Lake St. Clair. Depends on what you want to fish for. It really depends on what you want to fish for. I have had no issues, and I brought this out on rougher days, not the roughest of days, but rougher days, and have had no problems. So I would highly recommend, if you're from this area and you want a budget boat, you want something you can afford, and you don't want to buy used, you don't want to buy somebody else's headaches, then by all means, pick up one of these Bass Tracker Classic XLs. I tell you, they're just, it's amazing. It's just a great feeling. It is, I said, just being out here, floating around. I can't tell you how much I do that. I don't even fish a lot of times. I'll come out here at sunrise to see the sunrise on the water, hang out for this early morning piece, and then go back in. That's it. Sometimes I don't even fish. But when I fish, I fish. And I know I live to fish, but now I'm starting to live to boat and fish. I don't know. I might have to change the whole thing, but it's kind of a mouthful for a YouTube channel title. Anyway, that's enough of my rattling. I hope that kind of filled you in. Again, I'm going to do a video on pros and cons and some other things like that, and kind of revisit the whole purchase and boat ownership thing to kind of help you out if you're going to be getting into it, or if you're new to it. Show you some of my mistakes, which I made plenty of, but luckily nothing that was costly, so that can happen. Yeah, so until next time, be safe, be well, and as always, live to fish and boat and hang out on the water. Tight lines, everybody.